This is like my dream right now. I basically get a history lesson while also watching this amazing stuff about this song. It's a great day to play, everybody! Welcome on into the channel, yeah! Whether this is your first time here or you are rejoining us, thank you so much for being here with us today. You are loved, you are appreciated, you are always welcome here in this channel, and you are enough. Now, we finally did DAECHWITA. I always feel like I'm like doing like the wrong, like I know that like it's DAECHWITA. Like I just feel like it's like I'm putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. You know? Either way. DAECHWITA, DAECHWITA, Julia, DAECHWITA. Something like it's so hard as like I have a hard time with language as it is. Like I really struggle. Even in high school, like I took French for 4 years. I can barely remember it, but I really struggled when listening to things without being able to see them spelled out. So like that's why like even like some of the lyric videos are kind of cool to watch because like you can kind of see the like the spelling of it, and then like listening to it over and over again, I can kind of pick it up, which is the only way I'm ever gonna like actually learn these songs. I'd love to learn some of these and be able to like, you know, sing them more. Anyway, so today we just did our reaction to this, and a lot of people in the comments were like, you really should do the explanation videos for this. I saw 2 different ones that had been requested a lot. This one seemed to come up more, which is the one by DKDK. So this is DAECHWITA explained by a Korean. So that's what we're gonna do today. And if there's enough interest after this one in doing one of the other ones, let me know in the comment section. And I'll try to find time when we can do a second one as well. But I definitely want to see more about this. The feeling that I kind of got from this video from the start is it seems like it's kind of like a coming of age tale, and it's using a lot of like even like older ancient kind of like instruments and stuff, which is really cool. And I will be doing another reaction of the video with Lucas where we talk more about the production end of things. But I know that people have said in the comments that he actually apparently comes from like actual royal lineage, which is pretty cool. But it's like he's kind of like taking on his older self. Not like older as an age, but like his previous self. Like he's taking on his past self and then like being born anew. And I think that especially for people, you know, while there's a lot of flex, you know, knowing and being a person that also suffers from you know, depression and anxiety and things like that, you know, this can be a really powerful tool. Music is one of my outlets, one of my major outlets to be able to get over things or to be able to make movements, important movements in pieces of my life. So you know, I always wonder if there were things that were certainly going on at the time that like this was a powerful song, so much probably for him internally. And the more that we learn, the more that we'll know. So without further ado, let's get into this. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when our videos come out, you know when the live streams happen. But let's do this.
Suga has delivered another hard-hitting mixtape titled D2. The first August D album, released in 2016, focused on the tough times Suga faced when he was a teenager. Suga's at a very different place now. He's much older and he's much more successful. And this album focuses on the changes of his feelings after becoming one of music's biggest superstars. It's a very honest album, and my personal favorite off of this is the title track, DAECHWITA. It's an ultimate flex track slash warning slash reminder with tons of historical references, so let's take a look into it.
Guys, I'm so excited to get into the production. Like, again, I'm gonna wait for Lucas, but there's so much to be said about what's going on with some of these instruments here that's just so cool.
Yeah. Oh.
Daechwita is Korean traditional marching music that was played when kings or royalty were moving about or important guests would visit, as well as when army would be marching. There are two main characters in this music video, a King Suga and a bottom class Suga. We can see that the King Suga is a tyrant. He has everyone kneeling down with the faces down in the ground.
One of the things that they do such a great job of symbolism in a lot of their stuff, and like even the difference between like the blonde hair and the dark hair, right? Like they're just small pieces. I didn't even pick up on that the first time.
And he beheads people who have complaints in this scene. You can see the Shinmungo here. People in the Joseon dynasty would hit this drum if they had something that they've been wronged. They'd hit this drum and the king or someone up in the hierarchy would come and sort out their problems. Except here, King Suga is killing the people who have such complaints and issues. But the bottom class Suga, with the help of BTS and army represented by the 6 other men and a woman in the scene, starts a coup. He drives up a car with the men representing BTS and also a cute painting of Bang PD.
I didn't realize that they represent BTS. Somebody did say, and I did miss it. I saw later. I think it was JK, but there apparently is 2 cameos in this, and I missed the first time that they did the cameo.
By the way, this painting has its origins in a Jungkook drawing of Bang PD. It's pretty funny. The King Suga sees this and gives a thumbs down and captures the bottom class Suga. The King Suga wants to kill him and does this graceful sword dance, which apparently...
It's just like those small things, like remembering to put that in or thinking about putting that in all this time later. Like it's just, I just don't understand how people's minds work this way. It's so brilliant. I'm sorry. You guys know I'm like a dog watching a squirrel. Squirrel! Like I can't help it.
Bottom class Suga, the King Suga wants to kill him and does this graceful sword dance, which apparently Suga learned in 2 days. Meanwhile, bottom class Suga, blindfolded and tied down, starts headbanging, singing Daechwita. Remember how I told you that Daechwita was played when kings were about, or when the army would be marching? The bottom class Suga singing this is an announcement that he is actually the real king. He feels like he's the king. The people under the king, the very ones that were kneeling to him in the beginning, are now joining Suga, headbanging with him. This Daechwita is also for them. These kneeling people are armies marching together with the bottom class Suga. At the end, the executioner who was supposed to take down the bottom class Suga actually frees him and gives him a gun. Bottom class Suga grabs this and shoots the king. I think the MV and the song is a metaphor for BTS and ARMY taking down the existing system and the ruling forces of the industry. The King Suga represents the system, the existing system, the few powerful companies that had control over the industry before BTS came to the scene. Bottom class Suga is Suga himself in a small company with basically nothing, as if he was born into a bottom class, and winning the people over, eventually taking down the king with BTS and armies. I think Suga picked the perfect motif to convey his message. And if you look at the historical references, you'll be more amazed at how clever this all is. Well, this single verse has a lot to unpack, but let's just start with this line. The Joseon dynasty, which is most likely where the song is set in, had a strict class system where there was a heavy discrimination based on which class you were born into. Slaves were not even considered human. They would be traded in cases their owners didn't have enough money, and they were thought of more as just things. Think about the mistreatment that BTS received earlier on in their careers. They faced heavy discrimination due to them being from a small company, and they were mistreated. So it's easy to understand why Suga called himself a slave here. Slaves in Joseon were almost completely blocked off from advancing to higher classes. So for a slave to become a king is basically impossible. But Suga's saying he made it happen.
I really like
The
that.
following line is a reference to Kwang Hae-gun,
I really
the
like
king
that.
of Joseon dynasty in the 17th century. He developed paranoia while in power and notoriously became violent and reckless. Hence the line, Berserk Tiger, Kwanghae flow. But I think there are more reasons Suga referenced Kwanghae in the lyrics, especially if you consider what his life was like. Kwanghae-gun had a very roller coaster of a life. Originally, he was a war hero, defending Joseon against the Japanese invasion of 1592, one of the biggest wars in Korean history. His father, who was then king, had fled when the war broke out, and the 18-year-old Prince Kwanghae led Joseon troops in the battlefield. Rarely at this time did kings or to-be kings go out into the battlefield themselves. So Kwanghae, fighting with the people, won their hearts over, and there were movements to throne him as the king instead of his father. The father felt threatened by this, so he made a lot of political efforts to stop Kwanghae from gaining influence. Eventually, Kwanghae became stuck between two large political powers, and this struggle eventually made Kwanghae go paranoid and become violent and reckless. Ultimately, he was dethroned after a coup. I think Suga somewhat relates to Kwanghae as he himself had been through a tough adolescence, having to go out into the battlefield at an early age, just like Kwanghae did. He was an idol with no money, from a small company stuck in an industry dominated by big corporations. When Suga started winning battles and gaining power, he must felt a lot of efforts from the existing big powers to keep him away from the throne, like what Kwanghae experienced from his father when the people wanted him to become the king.
Couple of things, like, okay. This is like my dream right now is like, mixing like music with history, and you guys know how much I love his symbolism. Like, this is the shit that like I could just spend all day watching. You know, like I basically get a history lesson while also watching this amazing stuff about this song. I still have to, and I have to believe that there still is some, like with that upbringing, what they're talking about outside of the class thing. I think that he also had it a lot harder because of some of the things that he suffered through. And I think that we definitely shouldn't ignore that and the extra work that he also had to be put in. And that when it comes to especially mental health, I think a lot of times that people that struggle with mental health issues are oftentimes also looked as like second-class citizens, because many people don't even believe that like some of those problems exist, or that there's just something wrong with you. And so you kind of like have this, I don't know, like a paranoia of that too. Like, okay, what are people thinking about me? Because on top of you already having depression and anxiety, that like eats away at you too. So when it comes to relating, you know, to this previous king, essentially, and talking about kind of like the paranoia stages, and also like seeing what's kind of going on, he's also taking that on with all of that weight already on his shoulders, which is just crazy. God, this song is such a banger.
Suga mentions putting his past in the rice chest. For many Koreans, the word Twiju, or rice chest, is strongly connected to the tragic story of Sadoseja, which involves him dying in a rice chest. Sadoseja was the son of then King Yeongjo, and his father was extremely harsh on him, humiliating him and scolding him in front of others at a very early age. This became so severe that Sadoseja attempted to commit suicide a few times, but even then, he was treated terribly. He developed what modern doctors diagnose as bipolar disorder and began acting very violently. Eventually, the king ended up hating Sadoseja so much that he orders Sadoseja to go into a rice chest. Sadoseja went in, and he was stuck inside for 8 days and eventually starved to death. Sadoseja had a troubled life, filled with being humiliated and mistreated, and mental health issues just not being understood. Suga has been pretty open about his mental health issues he had when he was growing up, and I think he relates to Sadoseja. He sees himself in him. He says he's putting his past in the rice chest. It's a declaration that he's putting the old troubled Yoongi, the Sadoseja Yoongi, behind and looking at what's ahead of him.
I'm sure there's more of it. It becomes on a timeline. I'm sure there's more of these, but like, again, those are things that I would never pick up on, because like you would have to understand the cultural reference of like the rice chest aspect and all of these historical things to be able to really understand it. And it really does put so much more context into perspective in this song. Like, wow. Oh.
In the second verse, Suga focuses more on how he's now on the throne and he's better than everybody else. Suga directly name drops Bang PD and also takes a shot at other artists who do drugs thinking that they write better music while they're high. I won't name any names here, but I'm sure you can think of an artist or a few artists for that matter that will be at the butt end of this. Some in bigger companies, in fact.
Ooh, boy!
The diss aside, this line is also a glimpse into Bang PD's relationship with BTS.
And this is something that, like, I've talked about, you know, one of the things I love so much about what they do and what he's done in this song is he's done all of this and has made this amazing, like, what would probably be considered a lot of, like, a flex song without having to do the things that American artists flex about. And it's one of the, like, it makes me so sad every single time I go and, like, I'm listening to, like, you know, a hits radio station or something like that and, like, trying to check out some of the new stuff that's on. And it's like, you know, the top, you know, pop song or the top song on, like, the hits radio. It's like the flex is entirely about things that, like, are just, they're just inappropriate. And they just don't belong. I don't want to feel like, you know, I am a dad, but, like, I don't want to feel like a, you know, you kids get off my lawn. Like, that's not it. I just think that there's a place for it, and a lot of pop music is consumed by younger people, right? And while everybody listens to it, including myself, right? I feel like you can make a good song or a better song by thinking up good lyrics. But the problem is that's work, right? It's so much easier to just, like, take the easy way out and talk about, like, sex, drugs, alcohol, you know, just flexing your money and just, like, using, you know, non-rhyming scheme words over it. Like, I don't know. It's one of the things that I love so much about them, though, is, like, especially with how big they could do whatever they want now if they wanted to, but they don't diverge from who they are. They don't have to. And it's proof that you can do these things, that you can make amazing music, that you can make flex songs, that you can make rap songs, that you can make some of these things and hold true without having to do a lot of just the selling out aspect of it.
The diss aside, this line is also a glimpse into Bang PD's relationship with BTS. In a typical company, it'd be extremely difficult to even mention the name of your boss this openly without putting the honorifics Nim, especially considering how much a veteran and how much older Bang PD is compared to BTS. However, Suga name drops Bang PD as if he was his friend. We can sense that.
This has always been curious, and maybe there is and maybe there isn't, and I'm sure that somebody in the comments will direct me. I would like to know more about the history of how Hybe, how Big Hit came to be, because, like, I've seen, like, pictures and stuff, especially as we're doing American Hustle Life and things like that. I've seen all of this stuff of, like, them, like, working out of a garage. Like, how did that come from? Like, what are their past? What's his past, right? Like I would love to see if there's something that, like, gets more to the heart of that rather than just kind of like BTS, like, what's in the, because this is a brainchild of his, right? So, like, what was in his mind to create all of this? If there's something out there that's close to that, I would love to know. If you guys could put it in the comments, that would be really, really great. Like, it makes me think, because, like, he is brilliant and has just done this amazing job, I think, of being a true, not like a boss, right? But like a friend and a mentor, like a true mentor to these. I don't like calling them boys anymore, like, unless it's in India, like, these are my boys, right? But, like, these men now, he's been such an amazing mentor and has helped them through not just musically, but, like, life. And I would really like to know more about that. So,
however, Suga name drops Bang PD as if he was his friend. We can sense that there is a very close bond and assume that Bang PD is very democratic with BTS. The fact that Suga is talking of Bang PD so casually is a flex of its own to others, as it's a sign that BTS has become so big and valuable to the company that he's at level with Bang PD.
God, this part. I was not ready for this.
Now this is an interesting bit. Here Suga uses the Korean word hyunta. Hyunta is an interesting Korean slang that is used all around the internet. Directly translated as wise man's time, it is a word to describe the feeling you get right after you've ejaculated. Yes, ejaculated. And you feel no more sexual urges and you have a moment of clarity in your brain. You feel still, present, and sometimes disappointed that the short moment of satisfaction was all you got.
Okay.
You worked so hard for it. This slang originated from Japan, but it has become a staple in Korean everyday language, and it is widely used in everyday life outside of sexual situations. Usually in situations when you finally got what you dearly wanted and you wonder, that was it? Suga's saying he's feeling extreme hyunta because he has it all. He has money, he has clothes, he has everything he ever wanted, and there's nothing, no one above him. While this could be considered a small cry for help, I think within the context of this song, it's more of a hard flex. He's saying, others can only dream of what I have, but now I got everything and I feel bored and disappointed. But you won't know how I feel because you never had any of this.
At the same point in time, like, hearing that, that's like it's very normal for people that suffer from depression and anxiety, though, to, even when they're successful, even when they've reached certain milestones and they should be happy about them, it's very easy for them to still just not be full, like not feel completely satisfied. So on top of saying like other people who haven't made that much or who don't have all those things wouldn't understand, I think there's definitely some internal meaning here of like, there are things that nobody else is going to be able to understand that he's gone through in this process, and that like that feeling is always there, and he's probably constantly battling with that, because it doesn't matter how much help you get. Like I've, done 14 plus years of getting help, and while I'm so much better today than I was back then, I mean, it will always be there. It's not something that just disappears, right? And like this is a feeling that I completely understand with him saying that, is like that feeling of like you hit certain milestones and like all you should do is be happy, and your mind is still racing and you're still second guessing and you're still like, well, man, that's it. Like, okay, now what?
BTS has been on the top for the past few years, absolutely dominating, with a level of popularity that has never been seen in K-pop before. They're so dominant that it's sometimes easy to forget that they too had humble beginnings. In fact, more humble than most top artists out now today. They had to fight their way through discrimination, mistreatment, and humiliation. DAECHWITA is a reminder that this was where they started, and they took that system down. And it's also a warning that they had the resilience and the force to go through all of this, to go from slave to king. If you want us to make more videos like this, supporting us on patreon.com/DKDKTV helps us a lot. These explain videos get copyright claimed, thus we make no money off of them, 0 cents. So please consider supporting us on patreon.com/DKDKTV. For just a cup of coffee a month, you can get exclusive content and also help us continue our careers.
That's so cool. I let that play through because I always, especially, we've done so many of these like documentary series and stuff like that now, and I don't think that I've actually watched anything from DKDK yet. But the name has come up plenty of times, and these guys really do a lot of work to be able to help not just ARMY, but other content creators like myself to be able to understand, or just people that want or have an interest. And it's tough as a content creator to be able to do that. So like I always like to leave things open. I'll of course have a link to this original video in the description below. Anytime I do any like the documentary series and stuff like that, I'll always put the original videos in the channel there. So if you guys want to go over and pop and like and subscribe to any of them if you aren't already, that you can do that as well. I know that obviously a vast majority of you are ARMY, but we do have a lot of other people from a lot of different backgrounds on this channel that aren't necessarily. So you guys can do that. And also don't forget that we're in the same boat, that all of our content does the same thing and gets copyright. So, you know, if you also want to support us for far less than a cup of coffee, for just $1 a month, you can help support us, because it's the same. We're in the same boat. You know, I do multiple videos a day generally for you guys, plus the live streams and everything like that. And we don't get to monetize any of that content, because that gets paid out to the original artist, which is the way it should be. So, but thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Please, if you guys want me to do any more of these, let me know in the comments. And also for the Bang PD, if you guys know anything like about the history of that, or could lead me to somewhere, if it's not a video that I can react to, if there's even something I could read, I'm so fascinated by his mind. And I'd really love to see the back history, like see more about him and the back history behind that in the making of Hybe and of Big Hit. And I'd really like to see that. And this is just amazing. I love this. I love this so much. Thank you guys for recommending that I do this. You guys are starting to really understand me and know that I love stuff just like this. Anyway, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you already haven't. If nobody told you that they love you today, don't forget, I love you. You are appreciated. You're always welcome here in this channel, and you are enough. And last, but certainly not least, it was a great day to play. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
And it's time to change.